And the next year they said, hey, good job, now get out. And so he was thrown on the street when he thought he was probably one of the most valuable people in the company.
Wow.
So he had to reinvent himself, and he did, and started finding clients and so forth who could do work with him. So each of these stories, and somebody else came out of retail. So it's stories for people from with modest careers to the executive. The retail story is very endearing because here was their closing stores. You know that. Look around. It's in the news every day.
Yes.
But what's happening in its place, online retail is booming. And so he figured out, or she, I can't remember which one in this case, figured out to go and offer his or her services online to various retail giants. He's busier than he's ever been. What he's found as a secondary step, it is a him, I remember now, was that wasn't going to be enough for him in terms of mental stimulation. So at the same time, he went back to school. So he was balancing between finding a way to keep the income coming in new ways to work with going back to school, and he's now taking other classes for another goal. So the stories from the San Diego playbook are all these people, all local people, captured by this wonderful group in San Diego that is dedicated to the boomers through Aging and Independent Services, which is a Health and Human Services division. And everybody who contributed had a great story that resonated in ways you can't believe. They did a presentation on this and other things and gave out 1,000 playbooks, hard copies, plus the online that's free. And you have no idea. The response is incredible. Incredible.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's just wonderful.
Yeah, because it's the story that, it's not telling them how to do it, it's showing them, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And the stories just matter. We can tell people stuff all the time, but especially adult learners learn in a participative way, where they can take whatever the lessons are that we're trying to impart and discuss them and relate them back to their own lives. They don't want to learn about them as theory. They want to learn about them as this is how this affected me, or this is how I saw this happen, or this is what I have to add to this. That's the way people learn, and I think storytelling is great. And what was beautiful about it was a couple of the career coaches handed the book to some of their clients who were struggling, and the client would point out the story that spoke to them, and it saved a huge amount of upfront time in terms of coaching that individual. Oh, that's just fabulous. I love that. So you've got several of those playbooks at this point, right?
Well, and I do them with people. Remember what I said, I don't have a business. I write for free. Mm-hmm. The only thing that I ever said when people say, what's in it for you, I always say it shouldn't cost me money to do good for you. So if you want me to come to Oregon or New York for a presentation, happy to do so. Just pay my way.
That's
it's
great.
Fun. It's things to do. But the other playbook that's taking off was through the Life Planning Network. Have you heard of them?
No.
It's a national organization but has no presence. I don't think it has a presence. I could be wrong. In Oregon. But this network, oh my gosh, you need to belong to this Life Planning Network. And if you write to me later, aside from looking it up on the web, you will not believe how strong the network is and how much other people with other backgrounds who work with boomers and beyond can be helpful to you.
Oh, that's just wonderful. I will do it. I appreciate that lead. Yeah.
Good.
So are you developing any other products right now other than your playbooks?
Well, the playbooks are keeping me full-time busy. So the latest playbook that's on the drawing board is on loneliness and aging.
Oh, yes.
And that's I believe and have believed for years and experienced it myself that the major diseases of older age are boredom and loneliness.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And they lead into a lot of things. So several of these folks from the Life Planning Network are psychologists who work with people in this regard. So when they saw the playbook on work, they said, do you think we could do one on loneliness? And I said, love to. You lead, I'll follow, right? And so we're working on that. And most recently, I've been asked to do one for interim executives, meaning people like my husband who say, I want to still be my executive self, but how do I do that? And can I work around the world, or how do I leverage it? What do I need to know? And I think that'll be fascinating.
Yes, that's just absolutely fantastic. So Carleen, you've worked really hard at this and have a great message to deliver. Do you think that more people are beginning to understand that, and that there's some fundamental shifts that have been going on, or is the word getting out, do you think?
Sure. But, it's only, it's late in the game, meaning it's nice when you get the word out and you have enough money in the bank that you have time on your side. Mm-hmm. So what I think has happened, and you can tell better than I can because of your background, I think people have reached a wall.
Yeah.
And there's the pain aspect, and they're learning to try to adjust, but they're doing it at great cost.
Yes.
Great cost to their finances.
Yes, I think that's true. Maybe that's why you talked about the 100,000 boomers that have moved back in with their parents. I mean, maybe it's not just a feeling of despair, but it's a huge financial thing as well, and they're consolidating households and, trading services, because I do think a lot of people have waited till way too late.
Way too late. But are they getting it? Yeah, I think they are. What do you think?
I think they're beginning to get it, and are looking for ways. So I think the time is ripe. It certainly seems to be at our community college where I work part time. We've begun an Encore Entrepreneur program, and we're starting with a class that at the SBDCs we've never done before. Small Business Development Centers, which are a national organization, have also always assumed that if you came to them about starting a business that you already had a good business idea. And for the Encores, we've added a capstone or a beginning program that we're calling Business Concept Development. And that is wildly popular. And it's exploring these same ideas that you are talking about, what has changed, who am I, what do I have to bring, where do I fit in the new paradigm, what's going on now, how can I take the skills and the learning that I have in my lifetime and adapt them to, what is needed in the world. And I had assumed it would be popular, but I had no idea how popular it would really be. And it's quite amazing to me. One of the things I find is a lot of people who worked in corporate America for 30 to 35 years don't have any concept that they know something that someone would buy. Right. And I think, oh my goodness, what have you been doing?
Well, yeah, it seems so obvious to you, and it does to me, but I can appreciate when you've done the same thing, more or less the same thing, for 20, 30 years, how you can get kind of stuck in that particular rut. But it's interesting, Jack, and you know more about this than I do, that the small businesses started by boomers are much more successful than small businesses started by younger people.
Oh, yes.
Because we
know more.
Well, that's part of it. But I think we've also, we've had the good, the bad, and the ugly happen to us.
Yes.
So
much more resilient.
You're more resilient in that way. Another piece that you might be interested in the small business group to talk about, some of these franchises are focused on what they call daddy deals. Have you heard of them?
No. Tell me about daddy deals.
Yeah, here's a daddy. It could be a mommy deal, too. But you find parents, boomer parents, who are looking at their kids who can't get positioned out of school easily or go into, are taking the wrong courses for the market, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're buying franchises and small businesses for their children with the understanding that they'll stay in the business for 3 to 5 years and then turn it over to their kids. And it actually has a name for it. It's called a daddy deal. Daddy or mommy buy the business, and they essentially buy it for the continuity, for the family continuity. I think it's a great idea.
It is a great idea. Wow, I didn't know that one. So, Carleen, we're about out of time, and I really want to thank you for being my guest today. It's just been lovely, and I appreciate taking your early morning and your beautiful weather and talking to us. But I know that we have listeners who'd love to track down what you're doing and how to find your playbook. So would you like to give us some contact information and some URLs on how to find you and your wisdom?
Sure, and I would say don't go to my website because I've been very lazy about that. Let me give you 2 ways to reach me that are much easier, faster, and I promise to respond.
Okay.
My email is Carleen, Carleen, Mackay, Mackay, spelled all as one word, Carleen, Mackay, at sbcglobal.net. My phone number, I have a California number, even though I live in Hawaii, because I do so much work in California, is 916-316-0143. And, of course, they can write to Ageless in America, but I am sloppy about the website. Might take me a week or 2 to respond. I'm faster on the phone or through email.
But they can find your playbooks on Ageless in America.
No, I don't even know if it's been added because Brad was keeping that up.
Okay.
Find the playbooks on, I think it's on my letterhead to you.
Okay.
Maybe you can post it, and they'll take a look at it on your site, yeah. Those are the things that I'm proudest of. It is amazing, amazing when people meet me in the street, quite truthfully, and say, you're the author. And I would say, no, I'm just the co-author. But they'll say, you have no idea how you've helped me. Oh. And so when I said I'm not a counselor or coach, I'm not, but I'm glad I'm able to help.
I think that's wonderful. I have so appreciated talking with you, and I think you're quite a visionary, and but it's not like you're a visionary that's sitting on the mountaintop overlooking the world and separated from it. You are a visionary who has interpreted what is going on in some very, very practical ways and have said, how can I help people be successful in this massive change that is happening out there in the world? And I think that's just wonderful.
Thank you. It's rewarding.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for your wisdom, and thanks for being my guest today. And listeners, I want to remind you that you are listening to Jackie B. Peterson on Solo Pro Radio. And if you're interested in these changes that are going on in the workplace, please go review some of the radio shows that we've got up on my website, www.bettersmarterricher.com. This has been a topic we've been talking about all this year, and it is a different world out there. And Better, Smarter, Richer is starting our next online study group on November 18th. And if you want to sign up, just check on the website. Also, you can find some of the other events. We've got a very active calendar going on there. And certainly, buy the book. Do the work in the book. It will help you make these changes and adjustments for the new world of work that we've been talking about today. Thank you very much. I'm glad you tuned in. Hope to hear from you next week. Goodbye.
Conference muted.